When was the last time you saw a cobbler or a knife sharpener? These trades were once common sights during the 60s, but they've slowly disappeared and can rarely be seen on the streets of Singapore nowadays. What are the reasons behind the disappearance? And have some of these trades adapted with the times to stay alive? Hi, I'm Shuan and welcome to the Library Report, a series where we talk to interesting people, explore exciting spaces, and unearth compelling stories. In this episode, we'll be exploring some of the almost forgotten trades that used to be part of the hustle and bustle of Singapore. Before there were malls, people used to offer their skills and wares in shop houses and stalls by the roadside. To learn more about these trades, I've decided to visit Joanna, a librarian with the National Library Board who can tell me more about the history behind them. Hi Joanna!
Hello, Shuan.
Thank you so much for joining us here today. So actually I want to know, right, can you tell us about some of the trades that we had back then in Singapore?
Well, some of the trades that we had in the olden days were like cooked food hawkers. These are travelling hawkers.
Yeah.
Household goods sellers.
Yeah.
5-foot way letter writers, for example. Astrologers.
Astrologers?
Yes, and street storytellers as well. Yeah.
Wow! So actually, how did those trades come to be in Singapore?
We have an influx of immigrants from all over the world, from China, from India, and as well as from the region. Some of these trades were brought over by these immigrants, or they passed down the skills to the next generation or other people who immigrate into Singapore.
Tell me more about those other trades that they had.
There were also people who did knife sharpening services,
Yeah.
and then you have people who blend coffee blenders, for example. And you also have people who are photo artists. They color black and white photographs.
I have never heard of a photo artist. Tell me more about that.
In those days, right, you have black and white photographs. So the photo artists will paint color onto the photographs. They were engaged by photo studios because they were black and white, right? So you need a photo artist to use watercolor painting or oil painting to put some colors on the face as well as color the clothes, for example.
So, okay, actually this sounds now like a bit of an obvious question, but why have some of these trades completely vanished?
Some of these traits vanish because they are no longer needed. So photo artist was an example that I gave just now. Another one would be a street storyteller, for example. Yeah, because with social media today, you don't really need them anymore.
Are there some trades that are still around and that are still flourishing?
Well, you have the coffee blenders and the knife sharpener, for example.
Why was it a popular service back then?
In those days, people would use the same or reuse the same scissors or knife. They wouldn't buy a new one the moment the scissors or knife is blunt. If you're a pork seller or a fishmonger, you're so used to the knife that you use, right, to chop. You probably don't want to buy a new pair every time it is not sharp, right?
So what do you know about traditional coffee making in Singapore?
Known as the Nanyang Roast. Full flavoured, thicker and more fragrant than Western coffee because the beans are roasted in a huge roaster with corn, sugar and margarine. Strong, bitter, Robusta beans are used instead of the traditional Arabica variety.
It's very manual and it takes a long time.
Yes, that's right. So a lot of the olden days trades, right, they are very labour intensive, very manual in nature. And labour intensive means to say you have to hire quite a lot of people to produce the same amount.
True.
But with technology and with machinery, you probably will reduce the amount of time you take to actually produce a product. Then the labour cost in Singapore is high. Compared to, say, the labour cost in the region. Right? So some of these trades, they vanish because you really cannot compete.
Thank you so much for your time. This was so informative. They are rare, but you can still find some of these vanishing trades in Singapore. The owners of these traditional businesses have changed the way they operate to keep their businesses running. How have they evolved? Let's visit them to find out. I'm here at the Halted Coffee Factory, one of the last few coffee blenders in Singapore that brews coffee the traditional way. Doesn't this shopfront take you back to the 1950s with its iconic memorabilia? Hello, Dominic.
Hey, hi, how are you?
So nice to meet you.
Yeah, so nice to meet you too.
Yeah, this place, I feel like I've just stepped back into old Singapore.
Yes, that's right. We like to maintain it in this condition. I can remember my childhood days because I used to come here to play during my younger days. So I always come here and look at them how they work, how they roast their coffee. They grind powder also I get to see.
So hold on, when you say here, like literally here, this
Yes.
was the actual shop that
Correct.
your father started.
Yeah, it's always here.
So actually, do you know how your dad learned how to make coffee?
Of course, after the Second World War, he was introduced to work in a coffee factory. That's where he learned his skill. After a few years, he ventured out on his own in the late 40s or early 50s.
To start his own business.
Yeah, so he came right here.
So how did he teach you how to do it?
I joined the year 1985, right after my national service. It's hands-on. It's all hands-on.
Right?
While you're working, once in a while he will just explain,
Yeah.
the certain procedure. Why do we do this? Why do we do that?
Was it easy for you learning how to roast coffee?
It was never easy because the smoke and the heat.
Yeah.
The roasting machine is around 200 degrees, and when the coffee flows out is more than 100 degrees. The heat is still okay, it's the smoke that is unbearable. Those not seasoned one, they will
Your eyes will start to water.
yes, and your nose also.
Is this going to be a difficult skill to pass on to the next generation? Will people still want to do this?
Some of them, I saw some youngsters, they are very enthusiastic about this, but not too many. Traditional coffee, you need a lot of manpower. Yes, because it's really very laborious and very tedious.
Can that method ever be done with a machine?
We have tried,
You have tried?
failed. Some of them they tried.
Also
Fail.
failed. So it always needs to be done by
Manual.
hand.
Yes, manual.
I see that you have like so many different types of packaging for your coffee, and you also sell online,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Is there a reason why you chose to go that route?
Okay, before COVID, actually we are already considering, to sell online, sort of to widen our market and to get more customers,
Right.
to reach out to more people. So people, they live in Jurong or Tuas, they can buy from us.
So have customers' tastes changed over the years, and as a company, how have you adapted to those demands?
The older generation, they prefer more traditional coffee,
Right?
right? And the younger generation, they prefer something lighter, like more aromatic. I have two different range.
Okay.
I'll cater to them.
Okay.
This is one of our specialty coffee, and this one is cater more to the younger generation. The older generation we call it the Nanyang coffee.
Ah, this is the Nanyang style we've been talking about, the one where you roast with like sugar
Yeah,
and with
that's right.
margarine. Well, thank you so much for speaking with me today.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, I've learned so much about brewing coffee the traditional way.
That's good.
And it's so amazing to see how they preserved that original hotip flavor for over 70 years, and at the same time innovating new flavors for the next generation. Alright, now let's go check out one of the last knife sharpeners in Singapore in Chinatown. I'm here at Paoli to interview Auntie Hui Chin, who's been running this store for 52 years. Hello, Auntie. 你今天好吗？
好，
好，吃了没有？
吃饱了。
吃饱了。OK，我今天有些问题想问你，就是想知道你这行你其实做多久了
我做了50多年了，
？50多年，怎么样开始的？
我从年轻做到现在
年轻几岁
，20多岁。
？20多岁，怎么样学的？
我爸爸，那个时候我爸爸年纪大，
啊
像他还在做，
啊，
那又没人帮他。
Right
这样我是想，哎呦，我来试一下，我看我可以做得到吗？这样我就来帮忙，也不简单了，因为我们从不会，什么都不懂，要做到那一个东西可以交给顾客， 因为我刚刚学嘛，当然是不可能跟师傅一样的水准。
对
哦
，OK，
我也是很沮丧。我怎么样做，人家老师讲，你就不行的。这样那些顾客就是说，哎呀，你最好不要跟我磨两天，叫你爸爸磨，直接讲。
等你听到了，你有什么感受呢？
那个时候我的脾气也是很暴躁，跟他们好像一直讲啦。我说，哎呀，既然这样，我有时我也是，哎呀，你叫我爸爸做，我就不做你的咯。我的脾气也是很犟。后来慢慢我那个基础我已经好了，这样我就慢慢自己去研究去学。后来到也有好几年了，很多年。后来我就慢慢的学得到。
那你会有哪一类型的顾客？
我遇到的顾客全部都是做衣服的裁缝师，还有那个刀呢，就是在厨房做工的那些厨师，来回都是那几个顾客。
你做了那么多年了，你有注意到你这行业有什么改变吗？还是变化？
变化很大。在70多80年代，很好做。现在因为很多裁缝师退休，2003年慢慢，因为很多顾客已经退休，所以没有办法，就越来越少了。现在我磨的多数是菜刀比较多。
说厨师
家庭的，我们
家庭的，
你们家里的刀不利啊，就拿来磨是这样。
那你有女儿对吗？
对。
她会不会从你学这个？
应该不会。
为什么呢？
因为她对这一行没有兴趣，而且她是女孩子，觉得女孩子不是做这一行。
你也是女孩子吗？
我就是好像很另类磨刀在新加坡，我不敢讲别的地方在新加坡从来没有女的。
哇！
通常是男性，有男性有，现在还有。
现在还有，不是很多对吗？
对，几个而已啦。
你觉得下一代会不会有人家在做这行吗？
现在下一代我觉得应该不多。
为什么呢？
第一，不容易做。另外一个问题呢，你做得到对吗？很难养家。你磨一把刀才几块钱。
对
还要给租金。
对。
还要给什么拉扯，不见了一半。
对
你赚到100块你就很好了。现在的行情不容易做。如果真的是靠它来养家的话，你很辛苦。
那你做这行做那么久，你最喜欢的东西是什么？
最喜欢的东西就是人家拿的东西来给我是不可以用的，我做好是要拿回去，很好哎呦，真的那个满足感不会讲，真的不会讲。
你有没有想到要退休吗？
我也没有想到要退休，顾客也不给我退休。
3天你不可以退休
对，
那钱那怎么办？
对了，他说我还要给谁磨？他说你千万不要退休你退休我们找不到人了。
对
是这种话，我说没有办法了，可以做就做了。
可以做就做。
算了，做不到的时候就没办法。
Although a lot of these trades are not as common as they were in the past, some of these business owners are still passionate about keeping them alive. What are some of the vanished trades that you wish were still around? Leave us a comment down below and let us know. As usual, if you enjoyed the video, please like it and also subscribe and hit that notification bell so you'll know when our next video comes out. Till next time, bye!